Guess who went to a thrift store? Hi everybody, welcome back to Project Happy Home. For those of you who are new here, I'm Tanya, an MD JD, which is a doctor lawyer turned homeschooling mom of 3 wonderful kids ages 7, 4, and 2. I went to a thrift store because I've been dropping off things that we have been minimizing around the house. So I dropped off about 4 boxes of things and I picked up some books there because I found some. And I will never stop buying books from thrift stores, so stop asking me to. That message is directed at my husband. So these are the Spiderwick Chronicles. So I picked up 3 of them, number 1, number 2, and number 4, because my son informed me that we in fact have number 3 somewhere. So I rely on him and his visual memory to tell me these things. And I'm really excited because I think the story series is really good, and I love that these are the hardback editions. When I buy series that we like, I like to buy the hardback editions if I can find them, because then they'll withstand 3 kids much better. Ursula K. Le Guin will always be one of my favorite authors, both for her young adult fiction and for her adult fiction. In some ways, I feel like she's one of those authors where even her young adult fiction and kid fiction, people would say, is really adult fiction, disguised in simple language so that people think it's for young adults. And I could say that about a lot of books. Even some picture books, I think, are really adult fiction. I love the drawings in these, and her stories have so much depth to them. So I actually haven't read this one, and I'm so excited to read it. It's a nice short read. It's only 48 pages, and I think it'll be a fun nighttime read. I've heard a lot about these books from people on YouTube. This one's Who Was Albert Einstein and Who Was Bruce Lee. So I was really excited to find these. They look like really fun ways to present a biography to your child at an early stage. So I was really happy to find them, and these were just 50 cents. So Who Was Albert Einstein and Who Was Bruce Lee, who really was a really interesting person. This is The Family Under the Bridge by Natalie Savage Carlson. It's a Newbery Honor book. Whenever I find Newberys at a thrift store, I generally get them. Another great way to get Newberys is to look on eBay for a whole series of them. And I have bought, I would say about 90 Newbery Award winners from eBay by buying them in bulk. So someone, for example, a teacher or someone else will be selling like a lot of 35 Newbery books for like $30. And that's a really good way of getting them. So this one's the one that I haven't read. I like that it has these illustrations in it, and it seems like a really sweet story. Once there was an old man named Armand who lived under a bridge in Paris. Everything he owned could be pushed around in an old baby buggy without a hood. It was easy for him to move from place to place. Armand loved his solitary, carefree life. Children, he said, were like starlings, and one was better off without them. But the children who lived under the bridge knew a true friend when they saw one, even if that friend was a little bit grumpy to begin with. Here's a level 2 reader, Shark Attack. These level 2 readers are just 25 cents at our thrift store, so whenever my kids want one, I'm happy to get it for them. I generally don't pick up the leveled readers myself, but this one seemed actually pretty nice. So we picked up this Harry Potter because we are missing it in our series. Every single Harry Potter I've picked up has been from a thrift store, so this is number 2, and I'm glad to have it. I've heard a lot about the mailbox magazines. Apparently they're designed for teachers to create fun activities for kids. And this was a book for them, and it was the best of Mailbox Book 1, grades K through 3, so I thought that might be a really interesting find. I like that it was in color, and if you look through, it has these activities to do, like for centers. So some of them are for kids to do together, but some of them are just cute ideas, like here's a wooden paddle, and you can make math facts on it. Here you have like reproducibles that you can cut out, so things that you can use with activities on particular pages. And they just had nice fun game ideas also. So liven up a flashcard drill with frogs that hop along the blackboard. And they just had a lot of different themed worksheets that you could copy and like fun games. So I thought we could incorporate them every now and again, and maybe it would be fun for weekend activities or summer activities. But I'm going to read through and figure out what's in them. This is a book that I heard about on YouTube for the first time also. I can't remember who showed it to me the first time, but it's What's Your Angle, Pythagoras? And it's a math adventure. It's a storybook about, I think, how he came up with the Pythagorean theorem, which is really a fun way to learn about it. This is a book that most people I think would pass by, but I was really interested in it. When someone very special dies, and children can learn to cope with grief. I think it's really important to give kids a framework for emotional intelligence as well as just academic intelligence. And when something like this happens, we can often be caught off guard. And I really liked how this was designed as an activity book. So it talks about how change is a natural thing and there's cycles to life, that it causes different stages of grief, and things can cause people to die. You can talk honestly about what might have happened. It acknowledges how it's hard to say goodbye to someone that you love. It offers up space for the questions you'd like to ask when something like that happens. It talks about hiding your feelings. It talks about how you hurt. You can have physical pain from sadness and fear and anger. And I really liked how it laid out a space for children to have feelings and big emotions. And even if we don't use this book about death, I thought it presented a really nice model for me as how to practice emotional education with my kids, if that makes sense. Last but not least is this book, Starry Messenger, which is a Caldecott honor book by Peter, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, if it's Seiss or Sis, but I've noticed that he has a very characteristic way of illustrating his books, and they're really quite beautiful. This book is about Galileo, and the illustrations themselves are gorgeous. The paper is really a nice heavy quality. It has these beautiful map features about Italy. I like that it has both cursive in it as well as print. So depending on the different levels of your child, they can read more in depth, or you can read that section to them. And it is really just quite a lovely book. So that was my mini thrift haul. I thought I did a pretty good job. I didn't cart home bucket loads of books this time, but I really like the ones that I got. Some of them are to complete some of our collections, like the Harry Potter and the Spiderwick Chronicles. Some of them are things that I've had my eye on for a long time, like the Mailbox book, as well as these Who Was series. I'm going to keep an eye out for these. I'm hoping that whoever donated these has more to donate, and will be donating them in the next coming weeks. Sometimes when you see books in a series at the thrift store, you might want to come back for a few days around that time, or within a few days, because sometimes people have brought 1 or 2 boxes of things they're giving away and they just haven't gotten around to bringing the others, but they will on the next weekend. So just a pro tip on that. Anyway, you guys, as always, if you like this video, please hit the thumbs up. Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I hope you have a wonderful day.